So I don't have my recorded, but I'm going to talk about what we talked about today in Social Studies 20. So over the last couple of weeks, we talked about the French Revolution and essentially how they moved from an autocracy with one ruler into a democracy. And so the side effects of this is that obviously there's a political mess because we see the changes of governments, an economic mess. They're fighting these expensive wars. And so Napoleon is able to capitalize on this and essentially bring a measure of stability. And what he does is he capitalized on his charisma and military genius, as well as he organizes a coup or a forced government overthrow of the Directory, in which he sets up his own dictatorship. But Napoleon's dictatorship, as we know, is a little bit different from the other dictatorships of history because he brings in some Enlightenment ideas like public schools, new laws, civic monuments, and so on, in order to solidify his power, as well as accumulate incredible amounts of land in Austria, Italy, Spain, and so on. And so, what the unintended consequence of this is that the people who are controlled by Napoleon essentially come together and they realize that, hey, we have a lot more in common than we don't. And so he essentially brings up elements of nationalism in around Europe, and these forces end up working against him. He loses in battle after a series of horrible mistakes, such as the Russian campaign in which he overextends, and as a result, he's exiled to the island of Alba. He escapes that, and he has the 100 days in which he tries to get his empire back. He loses at Waterloo, and he's exiled to Saint Helena. And so, after all this, we have we have the Congress of Vienna, in which the Metternich system is set up, in which what it does three things. Number one, the principle of legitimacy, which says that the rightful rulers of Europe are the monarchs, and we must return to that system, the absolute monarchy, and that's reactionary. The second thing that we get at the Congress of Vienna is the principle of compensation, in which the countries that fought to defeat Napoleon would be compensated with land, which would create some lot of ethnic issues because Europe would be redrawn without consulting the people inside. And the last is balance of power, which makes sure that no one country has more power than the other. But the Metternich system essentially fails because people have already tasted freedom, people have already seen Enlightenment values, and eventually it falls apart because rebellions begin to pop up in Europe, in Central America, in South America, and so on. And so that's just a quick review of what I talked about today with Napoleon and the Congress of Vienna. Make sure you go over your notes. If you have any questions, make sure you see me at Flex Time, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be ready for your daily quiz.